Say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, sorry, we're a few minutes late here starting. Normally, it's the part of the meeting that you're not on the agenda and you have something you want to bring up. This is the opportunity for you to present it. We won't act on it, but we will take it under advisement on a meeting in the future. So is there anybody that's got something that's not on the agenda? All right, moving along. Sheriff, come on up. You survived all the holidays?
Oh, yeah, I think you guys may have some bids for me.
Right here, they're right there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's
Okay,
the one.
just one.
That's my guy.
Okay, this is a medical,
Oh, is that
the
on the
medical
insurance?
bids, yeah.
Is it the same company?
I think we only got one. It was from, I think it's Advance, it's the one we're using now, it's the only bids that we got, so, when we picked turn people that turned them in, so.
Hey, Greg, I don't think you got the memo. Tonight we're pushing Coca-Cola products.
Oh,
You
my
got
bad.
Pepsi. Word from our sponsors is it's delicious and refreshing.
Let me tell you something, that's what I said, that's the best zero drink you can buy. Tastes good, dude.
Where do you find that?
Walmart's on place to go.
Aldi's, I think.
Do they? I'll have to check there too, 'cause I had a hard time finding it.
Well, that's just like back before the COVID. You could get Orange Crush, like Diet Orange Crush. I don't even make it, I don't think anymore.
There's a lot of stuff that they quit making here in the town.
Which I guess they figured, okay, let's just streamline it now.
Do the numbers, do the numbers.
Read that, your stuff.
From Advanced Medical, Advanced Correctional Healthcare Incorporated is the only bid that we got, we had opened up.
That's the only one we
Jennifer,
got, yes.
yeah, so, it's a renewal contract, actually, that's who we're using now. The current contract was 1/1/23 to 12/31/23 at 187,180.89. The renewal contract 1/1/24 to 12/31/24 is 266,973.
So what was the year prior?
187, yeah, 187,180.89. Somebody's got a calculator, I'm not sure how much it is over,
That's
but
almost, about 80,000.
It's in the new total.
It's
Okay.
80,000, yeah.
I'm sorry,
The
buddy.
total was
I'm sorry, it's 266,983.
266,983.
973. That's what I had, yeah, 973.
And it looks like they're counting that they saved us, they highlighted it, it's probably there that they saved us $200,000 last year, so.
They negotiate, all the medical bills that is turned in, they negotiate them to a lower thing. That's what that
Was
two
that
hundred
with
some thousand.
whoever the doctor or
Yes.
hospital or whoever the,
Yes.
They play insurance company, you know.
How did they come up with this number, how much they saved us?
Because the actual bill, the bill to the sheriff's office is probably gonna be, not exponentially higher, but a lot higher than the negotiated price.
Yes, correct. What we pay, yes.
It's kinda like, you know, when you go
It's
get a
like your
procedure done at the
insurance.
hospital, if you tell them you're paying cash, they'll let you have it for a lot of time. A lot cheaper than what they say if you're going through insurance, you know.
Yeah.
It's like getting an insurance rate essentially for this.
Jeff, you wanna keep that and then
Or,
make your copies, yeah, just let.
Yes, and I can either email it to you, or I could say if not, I'd like to have a copy of it, but I can keep the original and I'll just email a copy to you if that's all right?
Whatever's
Okay,
easiest for
I'll do
you.
that, yeah. We'll have it in your file.
so is there other companies that do this?
There's several, but, they're getting out of the business a lot. of them.
Advanced Correctional is,
They're about,
I would say, one of the highest percentage, like per county in Indiana, like in my experience operating in county jails. They have contracts with many, especially in southern Indiana counties to provide medical services.
I do wanna bring up too, if we're done with that.
Yeah, go ahead.
I received an email from ISA, Sheriff's Association, this past week. And there are several counties across the state, who the insurance companies are canceling their liability insurance.
I
So,
mean, like what Richie would, or
I
like,
guess, yeah, what, you know, whatever the liability is on the, for the county liability insurance the county would have, they're canceling those policies, and I guess that the insurance companies are getting out of that, according to the ISA, that they're getting out of
well, we
the
just.
liability, you see what I'm saying?
We just renewed ours and talking with that insurance, you know, last year when we actually bid it. I was actually talking with Jason Mikowski, which does that in Seymour. He's got an office in Seymour, and he was telling me that there's a lot of companies that don't wanna do that. And there's a lot of factors that, you know, especially in the jail, if the jail's having problems, you know, they don't want anything to do with it, so. So anyway, yeah, we are gonna, I think, rebid that again this year, cause evidently we didn't give people enough time to do all their figuring and siphoning and everything else. So
But we are under current contract.
we're under current contract.
So, yeah, okay,
We
good. I just wanna
we
bring it to your
renewed it at
attention if
January 1,
you hear
so.
anything about it, they said that's, because they was asking for insurance company names to be able to send out to the other counties, because they was having a hard time finding people that even, you know, put in a bid for it, so.
Yeah, we renewed it after the first of the year, and, like I said, and actually Richie even said that, I think United is what we're with, but he said they didn't wanna bid it. And, so they finally did come back and bid it, but, so you're right, you're probably right, huh?
Is it Liberty?
I think it's Liberty. Yeah, United, yeah, I think it is Liberty. But anyway, he said they didn't wanna do it in the beginning, but, well, with the liability, especially, I'm gonna say in southern Indiana, there's, not here, but in some other
Had some
places,
lawsuits,
they've had some major lawsuits that,
But
Yep.
while you mention that, did you happen to see our meeting with
Thank you.
Richie?
No, I've not, no.
So he told us that we almost became uninsured. And it's on video. He said it was wrecks from the sheriff's department. And I think at the time, I think we're what, 18 wrecks in the last 3 years? Was it 3 years?
I can't remember.
Anyways,
I'd like to tell you
so
exactly.
there is a, program, Greg, you kinda sourced this out a little bit.
Well, he was just talking about the driving potential.
That was Richie. The insurance company would provide a service or something like that. Anyway.
iPad, well,
Yeah, iPad. So would you please consider having
Yeah, we'll consider,
drivers
let me
do
see what
that?
it is, because obviously we've got our own driving simulator. And, you know, downstairs in the basement that we use, and we do triple the number of driving hours. The state mandates 2 a year, that you have to, you know, have EVOC training in.
Yes.
So we have 6, we triple it, the amount of, you know what I'm saying, training that we do on our driving.
I get that, but I
So-
think it might help us with our
Insurance,
insurance.
yeah, I don't have no problem with that,
If,
no,
if,
just,
I mean,
I think
you know, it's kinda like the deferments we used to have to do when you get a speeding ticket or whatever.
Mhm.
Almost the same thing, you know, and
I have no problem with having our guys go through training, because that's, you know what I'm saying, because we'll try to use it for our ILEA, you know, Indiana Law Enforcement Academy hours, you know what I'm saying?
I think
So I
Nick, Jerry had some, he knew about the program too,
Okay.
on the EMS side.
Driving, training.
Right, Bill?
Anyway,
If it'll
we
save
could-
money,
we could
I
have
have no
something
issue,
that
absolutely.
saves the
I
insurance.
mean, we gotta do 18 wrecks is a lot. And I realize that sometimes you just go through, I mean, especially with the records, sometimes you just go through a slump there where you're hitting deer, you're hitting, you know,
Yeah.
things.
Well, and I think that's one of the issues that they was talking about on the liability with the other counties, it's not just us. You see what I'm saying, because we're out there putting the miles on, we drive them, you know, you're on the road 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you got a
Right,
propensity,
and
you know what I'm saying?
the more you're on the road,
happens,
the
so-
more you're increasing
And a
your
lot of
chances of
exposure.
being in a wreck.
Yeah, so, and a lot of times it's in high stress situations too, you know, so which we're trained for, but
And it's
it
not,
happens.
and I'm not trying to upset anyone,
Mhm.
it's just, it's a fact, I mean, and
Oh, I'm
we
not
have to
denying that,
try
yeah. Well, you think the state police is self-insured?
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, oh, I get that, I totally get it.
Yeah, so I
Well-
appreciate that.
Let's, I'll entertain a motion to accept or renew the contract with Advanced Medical Correctional, I guess it's called Advanced Correctional Medical, for.
Advanced Correctional Healthcare.
ACH.
Okay, correctional healthcare, yeah. In the amount of $266,973, and I figured it is $79,793 increase.
Is there, any requirement, like, so is there enough money in the line item that would pay that contract to meet that amount?
I'll have to ask Jennifer, cause that's in DeAndre, yeah, so,
I can pull it up and take a look at the,
cause I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you,
I don't think there is.
they screwed my budget up big time. The
Well,
last time, cause the monies that was given wasn't given, I know what you're saying, but that's why I don't know.
all I wanna ask is, what I was gonna say is, first off, we have a legal requirement to provide medical services in the jail.
Yeah.
So I was gonna basically say that we probably need to move this part on of accepting the only bid that was submitted. Whatever we need to do, when does the current contract,
It's already done. Current contract's already over. We're,
Okay.
they're working on an extended, we've got the contract say it'll extend until, you know what I'm saying, right, so
what's the current status of that, like, line item?
how much money?
Well, I mean, we would have to pass it here and then send it to the council for appropriation.
I just wanna let the sheriff know that, so
And
that
then
we
they would
can
have to,
move that process along.
they would either have to,
Quickly
and their
as
meeting's
possible.
on the 14th, I believe, is that correct? Not
Next
13th,
Tuesday,
13th.
It's the 13th. At this point, we haven't advertised for that appropriation. We can bring it up, but we couldn't do an ordinance for it. It would be in March, yes.
Would they extend it to March?
Yeah,
They know they're getting renewed, so.
yeah, we can talk to them.
I'm not finding it right
And you're
away.
right,
Okay,
I think it is.
you'd have to appropriate or advertise for 2 weeks anyway, so.
Yep.
Well, let's just make sure that we do an advertisement for that March meeting, public hearing, and any additional amounts in excess of what is currently budgeted that would be necessary.
okay.
Is your contract, is it expired or?
No, well, no, it's, yeah, it ended 12/31, but in the contract, it says they will carry over until replaced or, you know, as a continuing contact, yeah.
It amends itself in some ways. Okay.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the advanced medical correctional health care for the jail in the amount of $266,973, so.
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes a motion to accept the contract, Greg seconds that, I'll make it unanimous, so. Anyway, as our attorney says, we need to probably get it advertised, and then we'll bring it up to the council for, for the appropriation, then for them to find the additional 79,007, that's weird, 79,793, so. What else you got?
Just a couple things, just some updates on the jail. We've got some good news on the shower fix. SNL said they would do it for $8,000.
Just the leak that's been
Yeah,
there since the
major
beginning
one.
of time?
Yeah, so, and we couldn't get nobody else that was interested to do it to come look at it. And
For how much?
he said it'd be approximately 8,000 is what he said.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying, give or take. But along with that good news, we did have some bad news. We found out, Doug, I need you up here for this here, brother.
Back to that shower thing, so they did isolate where the leak was happening at?
They think, he says he thinks he knows exactly what it is.
Cause, and I mean, and I know those pods are all placed in there, I mean, is it all a bunch of
What he
takeout?
says he's gonna do is take this shower out. It's put together wrong. He thinks he can take the bottom out, put it back together right, and put it back in, and it shouldn't leak, is what he's saying. Cause he noticed that the bottom, it was put together wrong, however it was put in that pot.
Okay.
Fingers crossed on it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, cause that's a lot better than what the other ones was even talking
yeah.
about, you know.
well, some of them don't show back up.
Yeah, that's such a big job, they don't fool it.
We found out that we have got a problem in the kitchen. Back when the kitchen was put in 2015, 16, I guess it was, the hood system that they put in required to be with natural gas and some other things. Of course, I'm not a hood person, so I don't know, cooking hood person. But we had some issues with it not operating right, so we had a guy come in and look at it, and he said, well, the reason why is he said it was put in wrong. And now it's just finally catching up, I guess, over time it's finally catching up. It keeps shredding, motors, electric motors, the belts, fan belts, it helps operate whatever the
Run
fans
the
do.
fans?
Yeah,
Yes.
it keeps, ripping the belts off, and he says he thinks it's because they had the wrong hookups and some different things going. So,
So what's the fix?
they're saying $2,500 is what some parts that we had ordered to, but they were supposed to came back today and looked at the electric motors to see it, make sure that they was working, but I don't know if they made that.
They looked at them, but they said they don't think that the motors, but they'll have to do some more deep looking at it. They don't think the motors have to be replaced right now.
He said
It's
that
just some parts to
Belts,
line it up
yeah,
right or
sensors,
whatever that
yeah.
is.
and supposedly, and there's something with the electrical side of it, there's something wrong electrical wise, and then he said there was not even any natural gas hooked up to it, and it requires natural gas to work on some different, during the winter time and stuff, and again, I don't, we know what's going on with it when they give it to us, but he said that, that natural gas was never hooked up.
Was that hood welded, cut and welded together?
I don't know. I know that Josh was, of course, we have an inspection on it every year, so we've had them come and maintain it, and nobody, I don't know if it was the same people that put it in that wasn't coming, and does that make sense to where I'm coming, so they didn't say it?
I just remember that the doors, some of that stuff, they didn't allow for the width of it when they put it in, and they had to, remember they had to have Thomas come there
It
and
was, yeah, it was.
cut a table in half and put it back together inside the.
Yes. They had to take the door out, because they put the door up, nothing would fit through the jail, so they had to take the door back out to get everything in the jail.
So that's why I was just curious if that's where some of this alignment issue's coming from.
Yeah, about the re-welding and putting it back together if they had to.
I'm wondering if,
Yeah,
Honestly, I don't know, man.
and that's the sad thing about it is of course, none of us are expert, on, cooking hoods, so, you're relying on people to come in and do it, and like I said, we have to have it inspected every year for the fire marshal, so it's
And
like,
fire suppression has to be inspected, they tell you.
yeah.
but this guy found it whenever
He was coming.
So,
properly, so.
in the $2,500, I guess I'm gonna ask the question, you have a budget for maintenance, do you have that in there?
We don't have a budget for
So does
maintenance.
Eric have it in his
Yeah, he
budget?
does, yeah, they moved everything to him. And that's what we've been doing, everything we do,
So if
to
he's
the
got it-
bill, right down.
That is correct, but his budget is underfunded.
Yeah.
So there will have to be an additional appropriation request for that, because it did not take into account the $100,000 and some last year that we needed for the maintenance for the jail.
That's what we
They
got.
took all your maintenance budget
Yeah,
and
I got 0,
put there.
Yeah, we got 0.
Oh, they
How
did,
much did you have last year?
100,000.
so they didn't put it there,
Huh?
they didn't put it there, she's saying that Eric.
No, I know,
Eric's
so they
underfunded.
cut 100,000 out of his maintenance budget and just put it under Eric's,
No,
But they didn't.
they didn't,
but didn't give it to Eric.
Yeah.
Didn't give Eric the 100,000,
yeah.
is what.
Even though Eric, if they were gonna take away from him, they should have increased Eric's budget somewhat to cover the maintenance.
Seems reasonable.
Anyway, at this point, I'm sure it's early in the year, Eric probably has at least $2,500 to be able to.
Yeah, he does, yes.
Yeah,
But he may not have the next thing, I gotta tell you.
yeah.
So, obviously, the kitchen is that, but they told us $2,500 in parts, and so far, that's not counting the electric motors, hopefully they're working, and hopefully it just needs to be hooked up to the natural gas and those type of things too.
Not counting the labor or anything like
Okay, what's the big one?
that.
Well, the doors, jail doors, in the old side, the old jail, and I'm gonna let Doug explain this, cause he knows, and it's short, we got 2 doors that's bad, we have to have them replaced, and it comes up to Poly Jail Company's the one that gave us the bid, cause they're about the only ones that does it, period.
You talking cell block doors?
It is, it's the security doors that goes into the cell blocks. And at the end of the day, They can't find no parts for it, it's obsolete. So we're gonna have to redo the doors, take the old one out. Instead of going with slider doors, we're gonna have to go with open and shut doors. They'll have to do some concrete work and all that, because they can't find no parts and nobody can get anything. So it's gonna be expensive. We have 7 of them right now, only 2 of them's broke. And this bid is just for 2.
How much is it?
57,000. And that says sales tax excluded. So
I'm gonna
of
ask
course
you
we'd
a
work
question,
with
this is gonna be stupid, but Jefferson County just shut down their old jail and opened a new jail. Is any of their doors, will they fit?
Honestly, I don't know how old their jail was. I guess I could have them see, I don't have no idea how old their old jail was.
Cause I know they just opened one 3
Right,
weeks ago.
yes.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Is there any other vendors that you could solicit quotations from?
We have asked, but Poly Jail is the only vendor that does security doors inside the jail.
I got a question then, if they're $57,000 for 2 of them, is there someone that can prefab one?
Well, if there was, I wouldn't mind that. The only thing would bother me is it's certain parts that's messed up and it involves the electrical with the controls and all that. And I'm afraid if it's, cause we're not qualified to
Yeah, I
wanna
get
do that. And I'm afraid that if we do that, it'll screw up the electrical and the other stuff that's working. And also I'm afraid if a prisoner gets in there, we can't get the door open after it's done, then they're gonna say, who did you do this to? You didn't get a qualified, you know how it goes,
Yeah.
person to fix
Well, it'd
this
be an
and stuff.
engineer, wouldn't be some shade tree mechanic. That's, we're in the wrong business, we need to start the work business.
Get another LLC going.
Let
I
me,
called that. Yeah, it's crazy.
let's, I mean, what are you doing now?
Well, the one door is not working, it's in our 6 block. I'm just strictly using that for our classrooms, for our IRACs. So there's no inmates in there except when somebody's with them. And then our other door, I'm using it for my very mild inmates, because what it is, you've got your outside door that goes to the hallway. Then you go in and it's that cell door in there. So I've got a door that blocks them, but they can go in, you know what I'm saying, they can go.
So is it the hallway door or
No,
the
it's
cell block
cell
door? Okay, now I know what you're talking about. Okay, let's devour that, let's soak on that a few minutes, so.
This is an emergency right this minute.
It is, but it's.
It is, but I mean,
Yeah,
we're making it work, we'll put it that way.
we're making it work.
So we can have a couple weeks, huh?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's look at that a little bit. And if you take some pictures of it.
I can, I'll send it to you.
Email us so that we can maybe ask some other things.
And I will call the Jefferson County jail commander and talk to him.
I'm just saying that,
Okay.
just softball, I mean.
Yeah, if it works, it works.
You may have something that works and they may have the parts, I mean, but anyway. What else you got?
One other thing, actually.
It's hitting Christmas.
Yeah, I know it's not, I get that. But actually, in our defense, a lot of stuff we did have budgeted for that we knew we was gonna have to do, you know what I'm saying? Without that money, we can't do it, that's the reason why I'm having to come to you, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
To do it, so. Another thing that we're gonna have to do is we're going to put ladders on our bunk beds. They don't have ladders on them, and it's become I'm not gonna say common, but it's become a problem with inmates hurting their knees and their feet when they get out of the top bunk, jump down onto the concrete floor, because there's no ladders. So, we've
It's
been,
attached to the wall now?
The ladders?
No,
Or bunks?
bunks.
Yes.
We
So
arrested older
there's
prisoners
no
now.
end, there's no.
We got
end
older
to that.
prisoners now,
what's that?
more older prisoners now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah, so we're being told that we need to put ladders on there ASAP. How many injuries we had in the last month?
3, I'm pretty sure.
They've never had them, have they?
No. So,
So what's that cost?
we gotta have, Patty did the math on it, so, we gotta have $22,000 worth of them. And I don't have the number here, she just gave me the math, said that what, we need 100 of them at $2,200.
Yeah, cause it's, yeah.
I think it was 100 at $2,200 a piece is what it
Out of
was.
steel.
Yeah, they're all steel, and what they do is they bolt onto the two beds, so it's bolted on the bed, it's not, you know what I'm saying, on the wall or anything, it's bolted directly onto them, they have to climb up and
So
down.
anything that we do for probably some of these equipment purchases that come from single source, I think we just need to have some documentation on attempts made to quote from other sources. And then these contracts, whenever they're signed, will need to be kept separate from any other equipment purchases contracts, and it's gonna fall under a special purchasing method if they are in excess of $50,000.
I'm gonna ask a question. I know you're saying you've had some injuries and stuff. The state jail standards, I mean, is a ladder required?
It is not really for that, but it's what's gonna
I
happen
would say
is,
it's probably a good liability.
right,
Well,
well, I was gonna say the liability part of it.
So the jail inspection you could pass because you don't have a ladder, but you're saying because you're having so many injuries, maybe we,
And another thing too is it's been brought to our attention that it's caused injuries, so. We got him representing down here to Kentucky.
Yeah.
That'd be what we call notice.
Yeah, there you go. So,
okay.
and,
And
believe it
again,
or
like, is
not,
a ladder our only option?
Put a beanbag chair
The
down.
I
slide.
was getting to that or a
Well,
slide. Yeah,
I was wondering, you know,
Playground.
how high is the
well, I'd
top
say.
bunk? It's about what, 6, about 5 feet?
6 feet from the ground.
Yeah, it's concrete floor, it's.
And put a break in there.
That's what I said.
Well, I mean, I didn't know,
That'll make it a little bit liability
Steps.
too.
like a couple of steps, a step still made,
Mhm.
would that be enough?
Hey, I don't know, but we got to buy the jail standards, so if it'll qualify with jail standards at night, but I know they make the ladders for these beds we got. That's what
Yes.
they're made for specifically, you see what I'm saying, for those beds.
We just never did, or even in the new jail, they just didn't order.
I was just thinking, you know, somebody,
So is that
reason
problem?
put somebody
Yeah.
connecting
So is
between the
that
rungs
problem
and,
in the whole jail?
Yeah, I
you
get it.
know,
I just think. when
it's
we
something
do it,
else
we
you
are-
have to watch.
I mean,
So this includes the whole jail?
Yeah, that's old and new side both.
Uh,
How much is the ladder purchase?
22,000. It's for 100 of them, at 2,200 a piece is what it costs.
Is it from the same supplier?
200 a piece, is that what you said, Ray?
Yeah.
Same supplier for the door?
Is it 2,200?
Different.
22,000.
How much?
220 a ladder, but you would need 100.
Okay.
All right,
Are these ladders, sorry,
go ahead.
are these ladders double handrail on each side and then steps in the center, like a regular ladder, or are they
That's the
one
ones that
post
we
in the
looked at
center
was-
with?
No, you'd have to.
Because one of them is the side of the, I think it's one of they offer is just the corner of the bed rail. Because they're on the short side, you know what I'm saying, the ends, so it's on the short side, so they'd have one as the rail where you're going up, it's natural there anyway, because it's, and the other rail would be out. So they've got different models, different brands, and we picked the cheapest one, obviously, that we could find, so
So would there
That
be
was-
3 points of contact?
I'm not sure.
So,
Do you have a
That's what it
picture
sounds like.
you know what that is?
Yeah.
of it? And
Oh yeah, we do, yeah, we got pictures
Can
of
you take a
there.
picture of your phone and send it to me?
Yeah,
Um,
no problem.
So I guess
I just wanna see if we can get them built cheaper.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
ask.
And
the
these
other-
are stainless, I'm assuming,
No,
'Cause
they're just regular metal.
they're regular
Yeah,
steel.
they're steel, it's regular steel.
Okay.
Steel frame beds, so steel in this material.
So as far as the cost of these, you don't have that either? You're not gonna have that cost for
In
the
your budget.
22,000 in your
No,
budget?
no, I don't have anything.
Okay.
But like I said, we had this stuff, you know what I'm saying, we were figuring it in the last budget before it got cut, so.
When you're appropriating money, can you appropriate for these other things? We may not use it,
100 beds.
but
100
Yeah,
let's
just
go ahead and
ladders, I mean.
appropriate.
Yeah, just do amounts not to exceed.
That way, at least we have it already advertised.
And it was 22,000.
22,000.
And then it is, 66,989 is what we need additional appropriation for the advanced medical.
Okay.
So we'll put that to 57, 25, and 22. And then we'll at least have it advertised, and depending on the decision on the 57.
Yeah,
And the 22.
Mm-hmm.
Alright.
and the kitchen thing, like I said, we'll just play it by ear and see, I'll try to,
Well, Eric ought to have that in his budget, so go ahead. I mean, I think we're in agreement that we can go ahead and, if it's 2,500 or whatever, get that thing going, and on the other two things, you'll reach out over there and maybe.
I will.
I'm just, that was just a thought.
Right.
I know, they said they were moving out. Might be, might not be, so. But I guess in the future, we're gonna have to, if that's 2 doors and, at 57,000, I mean, and we have 7 more, or is it 7 total or is it 5?
7 total, you have 5
We got
more.
5 more. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars there, so we need to figure out a plan for the, you know, the
And
future.
all the doors over there are obsolete, but they were about 1985. You
Yeah.
can't find no parts for any of them.
that's what scares us too about working on, because the electrical, how they're hooked up to the board. We go in there and cut a wire, move a wire, something that shouldn't be moved, next thing you know, we knocked out every door in the jail, you know, or something, so.
So is it the magnetic lock is the problem, or what's the?
No, the slider is the problem, where you automatic slides it back and forth, it's broke and they can't find no parts for it. So they want to go to swing doors, so you don't have no more parts, you just have magnetic ones, where it just comes together.
Okay.
Is it better or worse for you?
It's fine, I mean, it'll be less expensive mechanic wise,
In the
but you won't have
future.
no parts, yes, in the future, yes.
It'd be maintenance free.
Yes.
Yeah, and we really think that we can get 20 more years out of the old jail, unless something catastrophic happens underneath that we don't know about, you know what I'm saying, the sewers or whatever it is, cause with the,
What's the payoff on the bond?
that, on the new jail? I'm not sure.
It's 2027, I think. That's the last year,
Okay.
Almost a year ago when I looked at that, and I can't remember.
I think 2027 is I asked about that when we were talking about doing some construction.
And last, but not least, I guess, is I wanna have a thank you to, Jennifer and Deandra. They have helped us immensely, with our budgets and the things going on, and actually are trying to plan ahead in what we've got going on, so I wanted to say a special thank you to them here for everybody, so they've done a good job, we appreciate you, so.
That's been her, she's amazing.
All right, well, let us do some research on this and we'll, brush it out at our next meeting, so.
And I'll send you some pictures tomorrow.
Yeah, just send it to all of us.
Okay, well,
And we'll send all door pictures too.
Yep.
Everything, just what you want, or the ladder pictures, I'm sorry, Randy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll
Sounds
send
good.
those too.
And you'll check with Justin?
Yeah, I'll talk to them.
I'm not saying, I just,
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Doesn't hurt.
All they
They
do is
may
tell us
have-
no.
all I can say is they don't fit.
Yeah, if that jail was built back at that time period, I'll guarantee it's the same systems, you know, this is all.
Could be.
I'll make a phone call tomorrow.
Also. All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Anything?
All right.
Yeah, like, you voted on this, but we need to sign the contract, so.
Just for the doors purchase, can you just show me what you sent out? Just so I can-
I'll make a motion that I'd like to sign this for
I
offer.
think you've already made the motion.
You've already made the motion.
We
Yeah.
passed
Yeah, for
this.
him to sign for us.
Free.
Oh, pretty, pretty. You're being cute.
Chris, you can come on up.
Thank you, sir.
How you doing, sir?
I'm well, thank you, and yourself?
Oh, better than I probably deserve. What can I do? Well, I know why you're here. I know you, have a agreement with the city of Scottsburg for, what is it, $20,000?
They agreed
Matching.
to pay $20,000 to Preservation Alliance specifically to reduce the principal amount, which is currently $320,000. And I'm here to ask you if you would contribute that same amount. Or, of course, a little more if you would be so generous.
Well, I will say is, and I think we're all in agreement maybe, I mean, I thought we were before, but, we're still trying to figure out how to bring that property back into the county. And, whether that is to assume your loan or to, you know, pay off the loan. We're not, we're trying to figure out we're down to this is the last year we have to appropriate money out of the, American Rescue Plan money. And we're trying to figure out what all we've got paid out and what we have on a wish list, I guess, to pay out. And to see what we have left. I mean, and that, I think that can go into a combination of a lot of things, whether it's we pay it all, we finance the rest of it, or we do something or the other. But I will say that I did, you know, I know there's been a lot of backdoor leg work being done, trying to see which way we can do this. Reached out to Terry Gooden, which is the USDA director for the state of Indiana. He said because the loan was secured with the building and the property, that, you know, forgiveness or anything like that is, they can't do that. So if it wasn't done that way, there could have been a possibility we could have done something. He did state that we could probably ask for, you know, some better payment plans or whatever, but if that's the case, we'll be paying on long after our great grandkids are still alive. So, so what you're asking, go ahead, I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say, one consolation would be that if you did accept the challenge from the Economic Development Corporation, if it comes around that you can figure out how to do whatever, it would be that much cheaper for you if you
That's correct.
make
You're
those
exactly right. We're
funds available now. That would be $40,000 off the principal that you would not have to take out a loan.
That's correct. You're exactly right there. So, comments, concerns?
Questions if you have any,
Questions?
yeah.
No, I mean, we'll continue to try to find alternative ways to supplement that out there. I mean, we know it's an asset, it's an important asset for the county. You know, whether, I don't know, you know, Ready may not fall in line with us getting that. I mean, Ready's really more based around right now, the focus is around childcare and housing. So, you know, I'm not really sure if we can go a Ready path, but there's some avenues that we'll pursue, and you know, we're going to try to work with the Alliance every way we can to try to make something happen. But I know you need something in the meantime.
Well, that's correct, yeah, we're not exactly flush with funds.
And I certainly am in favor of trying to work with the city and match what the city's wanting to contribute here. I mean, because the city, after all, they also understand the importance of that.
Well,
building.
sure, yeah.
And so, and I appreciate that they do, and willing to put money toward it. And I think we have the responsibility to do that. And so,
Well, I don't think, I'm not questioning, because I wasn't involved in that, but I would question why we did that years and years ago, because I know what was going to happen. the county didn't wanna fool with the building and they were going to tear it down, which would have been a total disaster, in my opinion, but I wasn't involved in county politics at the time, and, it's one of those things out of sight, out of mind, you're not thinking about it. But now that it is, you know, a very well-established building and a workable building, I don't wanna see something happen, and I know, I hate to say this, but I know there's an older generation of people that are keeping it afloat now. And if something starts
Myself
happening, yeah,
included.
I didn't say that, but,
I knew what you meant.
but if something happens to that generation of people that are keeping it afloat now, it will be gone. And with that, you know, 100 years plus of history that, you know, you won't get back. I
Oh,
mean,
no, not at all.
So,
That's a good point. And there's also been a lot of investment already made out there. I mean, you've had a roof, I don't know, you guys have done a lot of work.
it's got a new roof on it, it's got a 50-year roof on it.
Right.
Metal roof on it,
And-
so.
But you've made some other improvements, I think, out there as well.
There's all sorts of stuff going on, yeah, I mean, the Community Foundation was able to generate funds to put up the, structure where the farmer's market
Oh, that's very
locates, which obviously is available for public use as well, but, so there's been quite a lot of money invested in it, but,
Yeah,
it's maintenance, it's like a lot of things, you can start all sorts, but unless you can maintain it. And right now, the payment to USDA is due this month. And fortunately for us, the Visitors Commission is, unfortunately as well, they agreed to pay for 5 years, $10,000 a year. Well, this is the last year. And we've already had a hint or two that funds might be a little harder to come by
And I've been told that as well.
through the commission, yeah.
I get that, but
I sooner have,
that board's kind of that board is, this year, I will say, that board is a little, what's the word I want to say, it's the structure of how that board functions is gonna be different this year than it has been from the time of the inception, so,
We had to take it into the county.
yeah, it is now a county department, and we control, you know, that fund, and
Yeah.
the board is an advisory board,
there
so,
you go.
not saying that I know what you're saying, because I've heard the same story, that somebody said, well, you're not gonna get any funding, well, that's not, that hasn't been yet be
Yeah.
determined, so anyway,
Yeah.
Randy? Okay.
Well, I will, you know, as far as the ARPA money goes, you know, taking the museum in is something dear to me that I really wanna see happen.
Very good.
And I guess, you know, as far as the ARPA funds go, it's a question of needs and wants, right?
Oh, I'm
And
sure there
there's
will.
some things in the
Wants.
county that we absolutely need, like chip seal equipment and stuff like that, because we can't afford to pave our roads.
Right,
So we have to do that, and then after that's done, then the next thing would be on my list,
right.
would be to take the museum
Uh-huh.
into, but I think there'll be enough money left over. I wanna make sure that we nail down our needs before we go to our wants, is my feeling on it.
I'd rather see you spend that money on the museum than ladders for bunk beds. It's about the same amount of money, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not a Holiday Inn, but, go
Well,
ahead.
that's just me. I know you have responsibilities that I have nothing to do with, but, what may I tell the Economic Development Corporation? Because I have to meet with them next week.
I think I think we, like Greg said, I think we can match what the city's talking about, or city's redevelopment. That's a $20,000 match for them, their 20,000, I mean, and I guess I'll make a motion to, pay 20,000 out of ARPA at this time to the museum, not the museum, but the Preservation Alliance, which is a nonprofit,
Right.
to, match the Scottsburg redevelopment, you know, so,
Okay,
but again, Randy's right, there are some, as we said earlier, this is the year that we have to allocate all of our money to, places and then make sure we have, you know, enough left to do, our wants, and this is, you know, like Randy said, this is high on, I think everybody's stuff here.
When do you need
I'm sorry?
when do you need the money by?
Well, the payment, I think, is due on the 20th of this month. So it would be entirely up to you. But we do not need that $20,000 to make that
To
payment.
make the payment? You
We
just
have
need it
enough to make the
What-
payment.
He's saying we have to appropriate the money.
Oh, sure.
So
yeah.
here's what I'd ask is, if we would table the motion, we'll do a resolution. I mean, I think it does qualify under, the American Rescue Plan Act 603C1A. So, I just wanna do a resolution. We've always let outside counsel review, ARPA requests.
Mhm.
I think to speed things along, as long as council would be okay with it, we could go ahead and advertise the appropriation. That way we can try and get this on that March. We'll do ours. I'll have my questions answered before our next meeting. Be after the 20th,
Okay.
but we'll know when the first meeting's in March, the resolution they can act on, and then council can decide what they wanna do.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all.
All right, thanks.
Yes.
Real quick, I'm sorry.
No, no problem.
Michelle. So Michelle has a old voting machine.
Oh, is that, really?
And we was wanting to see if we could bring
It's
that.
not that old, cause I used it.
It's pretty old. So, anyways, we wanted to see if the museum would be interested in having that voting machine.
I'm sure we would, because I mean, anything to do with voting and politics is pretty popular, but also it's forever.
Well, it would be a great tool for a bunch of kids, cause you can go in there and click all the levers
Yeah,
and,
can't elect nobody.
Well, it would create, as you say, that extra interest that, we have to keep trying to generate. So that would, the only thing I will tell you is, if you sign the piece of paper that you'll be asked to sign, you give up all ownership of it, you can never have it back. And if we decide, or not me, the group decides that it's, I don't know, taking up too much space or whatever, we will then have the right to offer it to another museum somewhere else, or another not-for-profit, just so you know.
So, Michelle, where are you at on?
I have not heard anything back from the state.
Okay.
Or they need it in Indianapolis.
Well, I think she has to make sure
you can open the
legally
back.
that it's been decommissioned. And as long as it's legally been decommissioned, which I'm sure it has been,
Uh-huh.
but she has to check her paperwork.
Well, sure, I understand.
And if it comes back and it's been legally decommissioned,
We'll have it delivered to you.
I will get a rollback and I will, it's heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
I will get and if you wanna look at it as you're going out, it's right out here on the left, it's a gray cabinet, it looks like a gray coat cabinet,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
not.
all right,
But, I'll get a rollback and I'll bring it to you and
okay,
we
great.
can wheel it right into your door.
Excellent. Depending on who's pushing it.
That's right. All right, Chris,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chris.
Michelle? Told you didn't have to be here.
Plans changed.
Car fixed.
James is taking care of that. So I'm just here to come back to the commissioners to ask about the text MyGov contract. We had a Zoom meeting with them, Commissioner Greg, was there. We actually, within that Zoom call, found out that it would be actually very beneficial for a lot other departments. IT is very interested in it to giving notifications to employees, like if there's snow and it's closed, stuff like that. So I'm just here to ask for permission for the grant, or for the contract.
Well, speaking for myself, I mean, the only question I had, of course, it's always about the money. But the other part was about the cyber, you know, how easy, how much information would they have from somebody else? Could they sell somebody else's information and whatnot? So, from what conversation I had with Andrew was, he didn't think that was an issue. So.
And I don't think you thought that was either, like,
Right,
after,
I directly asked them about that.
Yeah,
He said,
and-
"No, it's not true."
and if we decide not to go with the contract anymore, it's a 2-year contract, and if we decide not to continue the contract after that, all of the data and everything is then given back literally to the county, so, and then we're responsible for disposing that.
But it's got a lot of capabilities, you know, not only like voting and things that we had talked about in the beginning, but it's however you wanna set it up.
Yeah, so for like when taxes are due, or when, they can send out the notices saying, hey, just a reminder, your taxes are due, this,
Via email, via text.
text. Well, it's either actually, so that goes into the thing of what the user sets up. If they wanna put their email address in there, they can put their email address in there. If they wanna just put their cell phone in there, they can put their cell phone in there. That is in the preference section for the user. But I mean, it can go for all kinds of things. It
I'm
can-
also, I guess the thing that kind of made me a little less apprehensive about it is that the disclaimer is that if I want to get on the program, I have to sign a disclaimer saying that I
Yes.
know that, you
Yep.
know, I'm giving them the information, it's
Yes.
my responsibility whether I want to or not, so.
Yep.
So it's not, hey, they're giving it to the county, we're giving it to somebody else to put in their system.
Yep.
Each person has to sign off saying, I understand that I'm
Yes.
taking a risk possibly, so.
Yep.
Question?
And you had enough money for 1 year, you
I
have
do
to
have-
sign up for 2 years.
Yes.
And that second year would cost us,
It's $2,200. Andrew, and he was gonna be here, he had something, but between his budget and my budget, I'm pretty sure we can cover. And if other departments want to utilize it, I mean, we could disperse that 22 between any of the departments that want to use it.
I did talk to Andrew, he felt like he had funds that, you know, he could split the funds with her, or he could do something to make it happen, so.
I think for the cost, I mean, I think it's a pretty good trial thing for us. I mean, you do have, you know, new voting centers and
Yep.
there'll be a lot of questions for that. I think that'll help you
Yeah.
and some of the confusion with that maybe. And then, you know, try it out.
Well, more information is better than no information.
Yes.
So,
well, I'll make a motion to allow her to go for the grant and
Well, we already have the grant, it's to sign the contract, yeah.
sign the contract.
is it my go?
Text MyGov. Mm-hmm.
Alright.
Yeah.
So Randy's made a motion to accept, you have the fees and stuff in there?
Yep, everything is in there from that page on.
Randy's made a motion to, accept a contract with TextMyGov, it's a 2-year contract. First year is $2,200, second year is also $2,200. So $4,400 for 2 years. And well, after the first 2 years, it'll revert to a year-to-year contract, so. Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so is there a place on here?
Yep,
to
on the very
sign?
last page.
You got anything else?
No, sir.
Actually, we did have one more thing, cause I talked to you guys about all the, wanting to do the, absentee voting in here. Kinda ties up the meeting for April, or the rooms, and I talked to the commissioners, just wanted that brought to the meeting tonight to
Oh, okay.
discuss that, so.
Have you, yeah, can you fill this out?
Yeah.
I don't put my phone number on there. and my
Yep,
email.
I'll take care of that, and then I'll get you guys a copy.
I know during past elections, county elections, we've utilized the library. Have they offered, cause they used, actually the last time they offered, it wasn't that we went to them, they offered, hey, in the basement over there, so I don't know if you thought about
So-
that or not.
The former clerk had that set up, but there was a fee charged. They charged rent, and we do not have that in the
What was
budget.
that?
I wanna say it was $500 an election.
I didn't know they did that.
I didn't either. Cause I thought
And that
Liz
was-
had talked to Darlene, I don't know, I have not talked to.
That was
Darlene,
done
but-
before me, that was
Oh, I
with,
know that,
that was
I'm
done
not
with
saying
Wendy,
that
so
it wasn't. but
I moved it when I took back over on the elections, we moved it back over here.
I was under the impression they just, I mean, it's a county building, and I know they have their own board, but I just assumed that it was
And I will say,
They were
the
given.
election that I did run with it at, because my first election was at the library, it was very difficult trying to be in the office and when there was problems constantly running over there, and that was, but it was done because of COVID, because of social distancing.
yeah.
So it's very difficult to be in the office, managing the office, and constantly running back and forth, trying to handle those situations.
So I guess the situation is you're trying to move it out of where it's been in the past and.
So it's in the hall and it can stay in the hall. I just asked if there was an option, if there was availability in the commissioner's room, and when I talked to Liz, she's like, yeah, there's this day, and this day that's kinda got a conflicts, and we could have it in the hallway those days. But there was days where this was just completely open, and so I asked just to book it.
Okay, so what's your guys' thoughts?
Like, I know that there's specific conflicts within, like Wednesdays are gonna be a conflict, so it will be in the hallway, but the
Well,
other.
Tuesday, the council has meetings in here, well, that's in the, well, ours is in the evening too, but you run,
8:30 to 4:30, and we are closed at 4:30.
That wouldn't affect us.
no, it wouldn't affect us either, so.
So, yeah, no conflict, and this is not being utilized, yeah, hopefully.
It just gives more room.
The judge is not using
So Wednesdays, the judge does use this. And I would just call the courts that day and be like, are you actually, because there's days where the courts always has it booked. But there are days that the courts actually don't utilize it. So I would just keep in communication with the courts and be like, are you actually gonna be in there that day? And if not, we would set up, if they are, we're gonna be back in the hall like normal.
it. Okay.
Yep.
Fine with it.
That's
Just
fine.
more room. Okay.
I just, like I said, if somebody needs a room, then, I mean, I know we have some other, they'd be on a calendar, so. So,
Okay.
Is your door situation fixed?
No, sir.
you told me that was something wrong, I mean, we don't probably wanna discuss it here, but, is there a resolution?
Yes, so, I called Ross Locksmith and he ordered a part, and, well, I didn't call Ross, Eric did. I communicated to Eric, Eric communicated to him. They sent the wrong part to fix the door. Roth had to send it back but he goes on vacation Friday, so it's still gonna be another week to 2 weeks before the door gets fixed.
So what about the part I asked Eric to pick up at Ace Hardware?
No, sir.
It's not put on?
No, sir.
Alright,
Who's on vacation, Eric or?
Roth is on, Roth Locksmith is, but he said if he gets the part back in, he said he sent it back on Monday. If he gets it back on tomorrow, he'll come and fix it, but if it's after he's left on vacation, it'll be after he gets back from vacation.
Alright, could you, ask Eric?
Yes. I know that you called and requested that, and I thought you were working on that with him.
I thought I was too.
Would you like me to follow up with that? Would you like me to follow up with that?
Well, or call me tomorrow and remind me,
Okay,
okay?
Yeah.
That would work better.
All right,
okay, thank you.
all right, thank you. Where you got?
Wait a minute, I asked him to
Oh,
hold
sorry.
up.
Up to you.
Nope.
Fire. Is that their radio at the front desk?
I'm here with you.
Oh, smoke. How's it going?
It's good, how are you?
Great.
Splendid. Anything new?
Couldn't be better.
Same.
Truck's running good?
Ones that
What
are
about the
running.
one that got hit?
It got, checked out and everything. Fenders, the only cosmetic part, everything structurally is fine.
So we're fixing the fender?
Sure.
Somebody else's insurance is paying for it, I don't think.
The cost of it, I believe, is gonna be below the deductible amount, so I don't know how that works. I was trying not to make a claim out of.
Well, the thing about it
$400.
is if somebody hit us, it's on their insurance.
They did.
Usually you still gotta make the claim though, and then.
Get hit for it.
Goes
Yeah,
after that.
I was just trying not to start a process for a part, but if you'd like me to, I certainly will.
Question about that. Go ahead.
Financials and round volume are up top. January, we finished with 176. Training, we finished at 4,300, and paramedic, we're starting to get deposits in, so we've got a whopping 2 so far. But we just sent out the acceptance stuff last week, so there hasn't been a whole lot of time for people to turn deposits in, but.
Year to date, this time last year, are we
You're
doing good?
We're about the same. I mean, I know it's the 1 month in, but right now I'm projecting 2% less than last year. So, but I mean, that can change in a couple
Wow.
weeks. Yeah, so, as far as the monthly finish, we're where I need to be. We did 427 runs in January. 216 of those were ALS, 130 were BLS, and 134 of those, well, sorry, that's year to date. 100 of those, 102 of those were transfers.
Well, and I know you can't predict this, but, I know Norton's is, I mean, I guess they're saying they're still in the transition stages of taking over, the hospital and making it their hospital, but some of the conversation the day that they had their, announcement was that they're going to try to keep some of those people here instead of transferring everybody that goes to the ER to, a hospital down south. And I guess like, you know, if that would change dramatically, we would be in a situation where we probably, cash flow wouldn't be as big because, you know, they're not transferring as many people. But the flip side of that is we wouldn't be as busy, you know.
I'm not complaining, I'm just updating.
I know you're not, but again, I know that 90% of the people that go in the ER are getting transferred.
Like I said, we're the people in the ER and I and the doctors and I and my crew and staff all have, like, the people that are interacting with each other have a decent understanding of when 3 or 4 of those get knocked out at the same time, of them understanding that we're taking one at a time, because I'm not leaving the county empty for that reason. Obviously, truly critical patients we're dealing with as soon as we can, if not immediately. But some of the stuff is sitting, and some of it's sitting for 3 or 4 hours, and that's just because, you know, it's not because we're not doing anything, it's because 3 or 4 of them are getting called in at a time, and we let them prioritize what they want to go first. We don't dictate that. We go over there and say, which ones do you want us to take, and we take them, so.
Well, also, they have the capability to call somebody else to.
And I've had them do that 2 or 3 times this year, just because, you know, there's 5 or 6 sitting, and I know it'd be 13 hours before we got to the last one. I mean, that's not fair to that patient.
No.
So, we're doing what we have to, but just keeping you up to date.
What else?
I'll go to the bottom. Fuel contract is up, if you guys would like to renew it. If not, that's fine. The current, last week, I don't want to say current, I know last week when they did a drop for me, we paid $2.56 for gas, $3.18 for diesel. That was, and we're on the market adjustable now, because it expired, I think, January 28th was our contract end date from last year. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been on the market variable.
So we're out of contract right now?
Correct, so we're just at whatever market is for the day. I did get a proposal for contract or fixed pricing, whatever you want to call it. And gas is, their gas is at $3.17, and their diesel is at $3.75. And that is a minimum of 5,000 gallons on the diesel and 12,000 gallons on the fuel, which will hit those no problem as far as consumption goes.
Well, using it is never a problem. I don't think we've ever had more fuel. We've always ran out of fuel before we ran out of contracts.
Yeah, and I mean, as busy as we've been here lately, we're having to get extra fill-ups throughout the week at times. So I know, I have no doubt that we'll hit those marks as long as something drastic doesn't happen. We'll hit the marks as far as our minimum allotted consumption. I don't know how I feel about paying 65 cents more on a fixed price. Yeah, absolutely. So they give the real fancy price of $2.82, and then like 10 words behind it, they give the price with tax. So.
Well, as we said earlier, this is an election year, and if anybody's watched the gas pumps out there, they've been going down, you know, a little bit at a time. Then, you know, you'll have some event that they want to cash in on, so they'll go up for a weekend or something. But
because every $2 at that rate, the price difference, if it was, you know, that drop versus today, it's $1 for every 2 gallons. So I mean, on 12,000 gallons, that's an extra $6 grand.
Well, the kicker here is
I'm paying in fuel just for a fixed pricing. But if something happens tomorrow and we lose an oil reserve and gas prices go to $7, you know, I'm in a different pickle.
You're not using all that much gas, right?
Right now we have been because the one truck is still down for the fuel, the CP4.
Mm-hmm.
No ETA on that, and that was a primary truck that we ran. So that was a diesel truck, so we don't have that in service. And then we had the other diesel truck out of service for starter Bendix and oil pressure switch issue for about 2 weeks. waiting on parts. So the consumption right now, it's everything that's been running has been gas, with the exception of the 2014 or 16 or whatever I've got. So everything has been gas, for most of this month, or most of last month rather.
Nice.
Typically I have 2 diesel trucks and a gas truck in service, and then we rotate a diesel out and a gas in, we just rotate every month.
I think like I said earlier, I wanna play the market,
Okay.
bet on the reelection.
I'm just doing my fiduciary duty to bring it to you.
I have a question about the fuel pump or whatever. Does it void the warranty if you go to a junkyard and find
Yep.
a used one?
They have
Even
to,
if you put it on and then say, okay, we're waiting for you to supply us with a new one?
because once that part's on in 4 months from now, an injector goes out, they could say that there wasn't sufficient pressure. I've asked if we bought an after, because they're not waiting on the pump itself. All they're waiting right now and on is a pinion gear that helps to spin the high pressure pump for the CP4. There's places like Sinister Diesel and some of these aftermarket companies that have these gears in stock that they won't. I said, I'll buy the part, bring it to you, you put it on, and it's a no-go.
They wouldn't do Brock either, even though they're
I guess
factory.
the other question to
Factory
that,
parts.
I mean, we bought a chassis or, from them and has a warranty with it, but they throw their hands up and say, we don't have a part and we don't know when we're gonna get that part to you, so you can't use that ambulance for that $350,000 ambulance until we decide you're gonna get the part.
Correct.
What's the question?
I don't
Yeah.
I was stating.
I mean, it makes
I'm looking at it that,
I have to fix
I
it.
mean, we can,
I mean.
I guess the option is
We have a piece of equipment that's,
I can order the part, bring it to somewhere else, but then
I'm
that
not saying
vehicle's no
that.
longer under warranty at that time.
I'm saying that the dealer or the manufacturer should replace it, do something different. If you don't know when you're gonna get a part, then replace the motor and put a new motor in it that you have that.
What is the cost share? Like, who is responsible for the purchase of any of these parts when
Me is zero.
It's in
they?
different.
Okay, so the warranty is covering,
Yeah,
it's just not
they don't have the part.
in a time that we,
Yeah, it's been down for over a month now.
yeah, so I don't know what type of,
Chevy. It's the one Chevrolet that we've got.
But the kicker is that we have a piece of equipment we can't use. and-
John Jones has had it since before Christmas.
There's an escalation process that you can go through with the manufacturer.
Well, I've escalated.
We can talk about that.
Okay. Cause I mean, I sat on the phone with them saying, go to this website, there's like a gmparts.com, and I was like, it's in stock, and they would, I don't know.
I don't know, but
Well, yeah, and I sent you the one for Brock, which Brock has genuine GM parts on there.
well, GM's probably got one sitting on a truck someplace, they can go take it off.
Well, and the guy said that, a dealer in Idaho's got one and a dealer in Kansas has got one, but they don't wanna give them up because apparently it's a pretty common failure right now. So they wanna keep them for their customers, which, okay, it's fine, but at some point you would think somebody at a manufacturing plant somewhere would realize
We're not talking.
maybe
about-
we should make a few more than 2 of these a day.
We're not talking about a truck that's hauling cattle or something, I mean. What else you got? Oh, actually, well, I guess we'll do the fuel.
I'm waiting on you on that.
What's your thing with the fuel? You think that we ought to just wait, not go into contract, cause
Here's this if you guys wanted to actually put your hands on it. If you wanna read it yourself.
I kinda like go with Randy on, play it for a couple months here and see where it goes, and they're gonna continue to try to drive prices as low as they can,
well,
until they can't.
well, the other part is like Nick says, if something happens in the Middle East, I mean, price is gonna go up anyway, and they're probably gonna null and void the contract. There's a war going on someplace anyway, so. I'd say hold off on it.
Okay.
Sounds like a consensus from everybody, so.
No
Do
problem.
you know if, the highway department also uses Premier and does the sheriff's department?
No idea.
An opportunity to combine.
We looked into that one time before, and there's something about.
The problem, I think, with that, when we looked into it before, was deciphering
As a side.
a generalized location, like we would have so many off-site locations, one for the sheriff, one down at the highway, one at my, like, if they could combine the account, but then we'd have to look at each one filling up and then who's financially responsible for how many gallons. Like, I'm not against it if we can save
Yeah,
some
it was
pennies
a-
and cents, but
I think it turned it into.
I think it was a
gonna be
logistical
nightmare
concern.
on-
you know, bringing a tractor
Who
to
paid
me
for
or
what?
an ambulance to them, and then how much, who charged, and I'm sure they use off-road diesel, I don't know. We can't, so, I mean, it's just kind of that whole thing. Last thing is just me coming back for the whole ARPA thing, Striker, ARPA.
Alright, did we have any luck with Striker dropping the,
I'm gonna go have a discussion with them once you all approve the amounts. We've done the advertisement. So council will have an amount not to exceed, I believe, at their meeting for next month.
Yes.
Is that right?
No, February
They
13th,
are-
next week.
Oh, they're next week.
yeah, we already appropriated.
Then I will have an answer by that date, and you'll know whether or not you would need to appropriate the higher amount, which is what is in that resolution, or the lower amount, which I think is like
155 or
$7,000 less.
Alright,
So it's the discussion is it the 208 versus the 209, or what's the?
no, the
No,
number
it
is
is,
161.
we had a, discussion last year when the contract amount was not paid on time,
Mm-hmm.
that they had agreed separately that if we got it paid by a specific date, that they were gonna waive a $7,000 late fee.
Okay,
That was all done, so we thought, and then they invoiced this year for the full amount plus the last year's late fee. So we just acted like we're gonna appropriate up to the full amount and negotiate down from there.
okay.
Zach wasn't here the last meeting, I think is probably where the disconnect is.
So the,
Is that in the murder zone?
Yes. That was a Wednesday, so it was,
so the understanding is that it's going to be, we're actually appropriating the salaries of our, and then the striker will come out of his fund.
Correct. Yes.
And it's, okay, and so I
Money
wanna,
is fungible.
I wanna make sure that I completely understand, because it could create a hell of a mess on the payroll side. That the full amount that we had requested was the $208,000 some odd, $325, that was what we had put in the resolution, or thought was going in the resolution, which would cover the salaries that will cover,
161.
So,
that's gonna create a.
so that's what when we had talked briefly, what
You've
was
got a
it?
certain amount that comes out of lit, right?
No, I have 6,000 that comes out of lit for the different thing. The initial conversation here was to fully cover the 3 salaries, like in total, even though it exceeded the 161, to not create a logistical nightmare on their end.
No one ever told me that.
Okay. That's what, cause the initial 161.
I guess my
That's what
question
it-
is, have you
They advertised for the
advertised
208.
for the 208?
Correct.
Yes,
If you have, then you can amend the resolution.
on this back page.
Yeah, I don't know which of, we just needed to change the training officer
To
Yes.
100 from
to
the
100%.
18% or
Whatever
whatever
that,
it was.
I don't know what that amount is, but.
I can provide that, I've already got it pulled up.
So 2 of them are at full, one's
No, now they're all 3 gonna be at
they'll
full.
be at
That's-
full.
That's what, I think, that's what your office is wanting to do, correct?
Yes, please, that would,
Yeah, I think there was a reason.
that's,
Yeah. Yes, please.
So,
Alright, give me 1 second.
are you gonna redo that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can scratch this out.
So the,
Where's the resolution number?
3.
Down.
training officer is 60,890,
He should be what, 6890?
6890.
60,000.
What's the total amount? 200?
Let me grab my, it's
Should say that
208,000.
total was for the training officer.
Sir,
What was the training officer?
60,890. Cause he runs
Why
that.
is it gotta be so difficult?
68,890 is what the.
6890.
68,890.
Yes, total amount, $208,325.
Even?
Even,
208 what?
325.
And again, for anybody that's watching and listening here, the reason we're doing this in the beginning, or at all, is because of a striker payment we have with some equipment that was supposed to have been bought through a grant, and the grant was never received, and the party at the time ordered the equipment, so
Not me.
it wasn't you.
There's no comments.
But this is the last payment
Correct.
of a 3-year
Yes.
get out of jail or get out of a debt that we should not have been in, so.
It is correct.
So I'm gonna go ahead and read this as it is, so that we can, while he's printing another copy or doing something here, so. Resolution number 3, the resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Scott County, Indiana, approving plan for appropriation of salary amounts for the Scott County EMS positions. Whereas the Board of Commissioners of Scott County, Indiana Board has been tasked by the County Council of the Scott County, Indiana Council with implementing programs and funds from the American Rescue Plan Act, pursuant to the guidelines and rules of the United States Treasury. Whereas the Board is the executive and legislative body of Scott County, Indiana, the county, whereas ARPA Section 603C1 provides the funds may be used for the following purposes: to respond to the public health emergency or its negative economic impacts, including assistance to households, small business, and nonprofits, or aid in the impact of industries such as tourism, travel, and hospitality. To respond to workers performing essential work during the COVID-19 public health emergency by providing premium pay to eligible workers. C, for the provision of government services to extend the reduction in revenue due to COVID-19 public health emergency relative to revenues collected in the most recent full fiscal year prior to the emergency. And D, to make necessary investments in water, sewer, or broadband infrastructure. Whereas the board has determined to provide specific amounts from ARPA funds to fund specific salary amounts for the positions within the Scott County EMS Department as necessary to provide government service under the final rule. Whereas the provisions of the government services by Scott County EMS is necessary and required services offered by the county for its citizens, permissible use of ARPA funds, and pursuant to the rules and guidance of the United States Treasury. Whereas the project constitutes government services within the meaning of the guidance of the United States Treasury, including but not limited to the final rule published by the United States Treasury and made effective as April 1st, 2022, the final rule, which broadly defines government services. Whereas the board has agreed to allocate, and this is the new number, $208,325 in ARPA funds for the project, which is the total amount allocated for salary amounts for the Scott County EMS positions as specified below for the 2024 fiscal year. Now, where it be resolved by the Board of Commissioners of Scott County that 1, the board hereby finds and determines that the project constitutes provisions of government services that complemented and permitted under the final rule. The board, number two, the board hereby approves the allocations and distribution or disbursement of $208,325.00 in the ARPA funds to pay for the following salaries within the Scott County EMS Department of the 2024 fiscal year. Line item 1151.11117.00.
Probably just list the line item.
Okay.
In reference to the position.
So line item A is for the chief salary amount of $78,621. Line B, line is the deputy chief in the amount of $68,814. And line C is the training officer in the amount of $60,890. Number three, the president of the board and the auditor of the Scott County are hereby authorized and directed to finalize and execute any documents and take any actions as may necessary and appropriate in the forbearance of this resolution. This resolution is effective immediately upon passage adopted this 7th day of January 2024. So.
Okay, and before we vote, again, the question of was this a permissible use with the specific context was referred to outside counsel. They did review it and made a determination that it wasn't permissible use under the government services line item. The only question I have is, do we know as of today's date what it remains in the ARPA fund unallocated, unfunded,
Minus this,
without this number?
so it's $2,266,811,
Does that include,
Bridge 105.
does it include the Scott County Courthouse? I mean, the
City Hall.
City Hall.
No, I do not believe it does. That
Right,
is
so
not-
that was 650,000, am I right? Is that wrong?
I think it's 650.
Yes, it was 650.
650,
So you
So
said
we're
2
down to
million, 2,066,000.
2,266,811.
and then,
Make sure that that's.
So
8,000.
2.26.
So 650 is coming out of that.
266.
Highest 1.6.
There's another 20 tonight, right?
20 for the, yeah, but we haven't, yeah.
That's about where I thought we were running at.
So,
So that, the bridge is out of that?
Bridge 105. Yeah, there's just a little bit
Sorry.
left.
That's about where I thought 1.5.
okay. And that includes like all of the, I wouldn't call it premium pay, I guess. I can't remember exactly what we did, but we did
Bonus and
that was last
include
year.
the 63,000
We
for
did.
the insurance.
The insurance at the last meeting, it was like 63.
63 or 64. It was 66, you know,
Yeah, it's
because
66.
that's not been appropriated or anything,
Okay.
so I haven't, yeah.
So you haven't
I
taken
get
that out either.
Okay,
Yep.
so we're waiting on those numbers to come in probably in March,
They will be, I think they should be during the February 13th meeting.
February 13th, okay.
So what I can do is
But
I
either
will
way,
take,
we're around like 1.6. Okay.
I'll pull all of those that we already have advertised for the February 13th, subtract them from what we currently have as our cash balance.
Okay, so now we're
Provide
down
that to
to,
commissioners.
if you approve this, you're down to like 1.4-ish. And I would just say, again, this is money that it's mandatory to allocate this money by the end of 2024. So there's $1.4 million that must be allocated in the next 10 months, or it will be returned to the federal government.
if you need help, let me know.
I got some ideas myself.
Oh, there's plenty of ideas.
When you got enough?
This is, they have to
It does
make,
not need to be
This has to
spent, it
happen.
does not need to be spent until 2026.
this bill has to be paid, they have to
Plans
make a
must be
decision
approved by the
this
end of
council
this
meeting.
year.
Otherwise, we're gonna pay another late fee,
That's exactly.
And the
why
next
we-
council meeting is,
7 days from now, or 6 days from now.
We had to vote on it tonight because that's why we appropriate or advertise the
We
appropriation.
ran into this
early.
last year where we left this
It kept going and.
too long, because we were trying to, I think we were doing a responsible thing by trying to figure out, you
It dragged
know, how
out
can
too
we
long.
make this work? But it went on too long.
Cause I ended up covering, I think, 80,000 out of my
Wow.
budget and had to get appropriated, and then the other 70 came from somewhere.
We just need to get rid of it.
And this is it, I mean, we're done, this is never gonna happen.
We can't wait till another month to do it,
I
so.
mean, we'll end up,
how much is the chip seal?
Something
750.
like that.
So if we do this, and we did chip seal equipment,
leaves you 700.
we'll be scraping our teeth on whether or not we can get the museum.
Well, there's options there too, but we still have to, you know, whether we use ARPA money to remodel this, the courthouse here, remodel that building over there.
I will say, I mean, I very much agree with the general idea of the public library situation, okay? What I would say is one of the big kind of prohibitions in the use of ARPA money was paying down debt. So I have already sent off a request to review that, but that gives me a little bit of pause about that proposal for the 20,000. It also concerns me that part of a proposal to take in the public library into the county would be to use ARPA money to pay off their debt. I'm not totally positive that that is a permissible use of that money.
Yeah, we need to know that.
Most of the guidance indicates that these are for, it's in the resolution actually. These are for expenses incurred, there's after the set date.
It's for respond to public health emergencies, negative economic impacts, and assisting households, small business, nonprofits, or to aid in the impact industry for tourism, travel, and hospitality. Or for premium pay for eligible workers, or through government service to extent the reduction of revenue due to COVID or health emergency revenue.
After March 3rd of 2021 is the kind of, seems to be one of the cutoff dates that they're using.
22. Oh, it's April.
2021, for these, the permissible use of ARPA basically begin on that date.
Yeah.
I'm sure that this debt, the idea is that debt occurring before that
No,
is
that
not
doesn't.
something that you're supposed to be using this money for.
So it'd be interpreted as a pay down of current debt.
That, so, I mean, that's a question I feel really strongly would need to be vetted.
Well, and it may not be a situation where we,
But I mean, we can
use
purchase
that.
the chip seal equipment.
Yes, that's a totally different issue.
yeah, that's a different.
I'm just talking about if the plan is to hold in reserve sufficient monies for chip seal / library / I would tell you, out of those things, the library museum causes me a good deal of concern.
Is it, I'm not saying this is because it's just coming in my head, so I haven't thought about all the possibilities yet, but is it possible for the Visitors Commission to take in the library?
Museum.
Well, we
Museum.
could,
Yeah,
The
museum, I'm sorry, I
The
said
building.
library, didn't I?
It would, I mean, again, I think depending on the nature of how that debt was secured, I mean, you would have to take the debt on, and I think that whoever held the mortgage would
It's a
have to,
USDA.
would have to agree to it.
Is that something the visitor commission could do is the question? Can they
It's a
take on
museum.
debt like that?
It's within the tourism ambit of things. I could say yes or no off the top of my head, but I could look into it.
I think the other question that we would have to ask there also is, can they financially afford to do that?
Yeah, that,
And that's my concern.
that plus, I don't know, I mean, because they are a county department now, I mean, I don't know what the debt limitations are.
Yeah.
How this would be affected by the current bond on the jail. Obviously, we're close to paying down, but, I think all that would have to go to the DLGF. They would have to
We make
approve
about
it.
278 a year, don't they?
Instead of paying,
I don't know exactly what it is, I mean, it's something like that. 233 keeps stuck in my mind, but I don't know if that could be
I thought
something
it was
else.
270, so. Or 255.
That's a road down the.
Yeah, anyways.
I mean, if we can't use ARPA money, that just leaves us more money for remodels, so.
Yeah,
What do you
yeah,
think, Nick?
Just because,
Were you gonna give Stryker?
The hard question here.
yeah, we
when it comes down to
did
it.
walk pretty far away from what's on the table, but,
You got any money? Heard you had about 700,000.
Can you run a truck
Close to
out of
9, but yeah.
museum?
Huh?
Is there any way you can run a truck out of a museum or something?
I know that there's plans and all of this stuff for other departments and, you know, anytime, I think, I've asked for money, with the exception of from the redevelopment committee, it's been reappropriating my own money that I have in my bank account. And I think my team's done a hell of a job getting to where we're at from where we were when I first came here, of having.
we did some opioid.
Oh yeah, we did opioid, I forgot about that. But that was also for the striker-ish.
Of course.
No, that was for salaries, and I just happened to. So, you know, and then I ended up footing the other 70 or 80,000 of that, and I think, you know, the whole goal has been progress, and every time I make progress, it's then here deal with this, and here deal with this, and I can't make an extra 300,000 a year, and then here deal with this, and then expect all of this to happen. Like, we're gonna have to pick an avenue. That's just where I'm at. Either we don't mind me staying on lit for years, or we want me self-sufficient. We can't do both.
Well, I don't think we're talking about that, I think.
No, but I'm just saying, I offered, I can pay this out of my budget, or not out of my budget, out of my cash ledger, but then you're gonna set me back 2 years, so.
Nobody's saying that, we
I
I was the only one here when this disaster happened. And it wasn't because of the board of commissioners, it was because of, so, but it was a situation where.
And I've took a lot of this on the chin, I feel like, and I haven't thrown anybody under the bus, I haven't mentioned any names, and I just
I've asked
here
you,
and deal with it, cause it's my problem now. I was hired, acquired the problem, and I've dealt with it.
well, this is the last payment, and I'm gonna be frank, I mean, I'm just glad it's the last damn payment. I'm so
I can start looking at some Inferno equipment.
I'm so sick of looking at the word striker. I mean, yeah, they're a manufacturer for a lot of equipment, but,
Yeah.
and the equipment that we have through them.
It's good
you know,
equipment.
It's good equipment. I mean, but the way it was done is, you know, shouldn't have happened that way. So I'll entertain a motion to, accept resolution 3, taking ARPA money, $208,325 and pay the 3 salaries in the EMS to finalize this commitment to Stryker. Cause I'm over it. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Randy makes the motion to pay the 200.
Greg, make.
I'm sorry. Greg makes the motion to, let's just
Put
like,
Randy on the.
yeah, put Randy on there. Greg makes a motion to pay the $208,325 out of the ARPA funds to pay for 3 salaries at the EMS to, that's it. So Greg makes a motion, Randy? I'll second the motion.
I'll second that.
So you want a second?
Randy, y'all know what you did?
Well, I was gonna put the kitchen timer up here.
I'll second the motion.
Randy will second
He did
that
much,
motion,
but
and I'll make it unanimous, so. Thanks,
Shipping still is pretty high on my list, guys.
I get
just-
that, but we don't wanna have a $7,500 late fee
Penalties are
Again.
killer.
to, cause we didn't pay it, so
We're never gonna get out, I mean, we have to.
we're out.
Yeah, I mean, it's, the money's
Well,
coming from somewhere.
You're out of it now.
And here's
Maybe.
the thing. Here's my thing.
And actually, it could be less.
There's actually, there's more money out here to get than, other than just ARPA.
Oh, yeah.
And just for one, I know there's $1 million sitting in,
Whose bank account?
our, rainy day fund. And we shored up $400-some thousand out of ARPA when we did the roof, which should have been under the rainy day fund.
And it originally was, we
Yeah.
gave them the money back.
Yeah, and, you know, and I understand that, you know, you wanna hold back this money for rainy day fund. At what point does it rain, guys?
Well, I
You
will
know?
say that we are severely, not severely, what's the right word? The DLGF and the State Board of Accounts, they give guidelines on the amount of money that you should hold in reserve percentage-wise based on your average budgets, and I believe that we are under.
Well, and I agree with that, but our roof was pretty important, and we used ARPA for that when it should have went under the rainy day fund. I mean, they agreed to use rainy day fund, and we shored them back up with ARPA funds.
Yeah.
So, and this has nothing to do with you.
You won't have a bank
I'm
come up with
agreeing,
the
I'm agreeing to use the
208,000.
ARPA money for this.
I've seen stuff.
It's just that
I
the
could
people
very
in
well
Scott
be.
County is gonna have, and you're gonna have to have roads in for these ambulances to get to these places. We can't just. So I'm getting a little nervous here about our chip seal equipment.
I get that, but at the same time, I also feel like, you know, your job is to worry about all departments, mine's to worry about mine, and again, that's why I've offered everything I can offer. It's just, we have to pick an avenue to go down,
I agree with this.
because every
That's why
budget year I hear about being self-sufficient, and it's not, I'm not out there buying dumb stuff.
No, you're not. You're not.
You know, we're
And
collecting.
if you was, honestly, I wouldn't, my answer would just would have been no.
And, you know, I was very transparent in my plan here of recycling equipment, recycling apparatus, and the billing. And I feel like I've held true on all of that, and I haven't deviated from that plan one bit. But at the same time, you know, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, we run a pretty premier service here, and people at the state level acknowledge that. And you can't operate back in time or with mediocre equipment or things and keep that level. So, I mean, that's where we're at.
Again, Nick, I understand that, and it's just,
I don't feel like I asked for a whole lot of, I asked
I
for my
think
own.
Randy's just coming on the point that everybody's got a lot, we've got a lot of needs, right? I mean.
yeah.
So, I appreciate
No, I'm gonna be quite honest, and I know it's a double-edged sword, but I'll be glad when this money's gone. I mean, I'll be absolutely a Christmas day for me.
I will agree with that, as long as.
We get what we
Chip
need.
seal.
Well, I mean, you know, hey, we could pay 4 miles a year, we got 311 roads, I mean, do the math, it's gonna take us 80 years to go through and pave all of our roads. Or you can chip seal 30 miles a year. and you have roads. I don't see how we have an
I'm
option.
not saying that, I'm not against that, I'm just saying that this pays off a debt that we incurred, and I'm, when you got hired, you know that conversation I had with you is they keep this quiet and.
I did.
And you did, and I know you, and that was a big hit. But,
What a backhanded compliment though.
well, he knows.
I'll take what I can get.
He knows it. I mean, but he is proactive in his job. I didn't say good.
Okay.
He's proactive in his job and he does a good job. I knew that there was gonna be a day when you're gonna be out of that shift. And you are out of it. And we just got out the last payment and you have done miracles out there. And I'm gonna say this, and you just said a minute ago about equipment and everything else. I had a very good friend of mine, a relative, that got ran on last night in another county. Took them forever to get an ambulance there. Matter of fact, somebody drove from here to another county before the ambulance got there. And then when they got there, this guy thought he was having a heart attack, and they didn't have the equipment to even put a monitor on him, because they had it, but it didn't work. So, and then he wanted to go to a different hospital, because that's where his doctor's at, and they said, nope, we're going south, and he ended up going to KDH in a car. So, I know the service, I know what you do, and I know what your people do, and I would take Marion County, Indianapolis PD, or Indianapolis Fire, you know, I would take our service over any of those people. I mean, because I know what you guys do, I know the equipment you have, and yeah, we paid for it, but it's good equipment, and people in this community ought to know that they have the best of the best. I mean, and with the paramedic class out there, we have the best of the best in training and people that are well trained, so anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Now, just because we paid off this debt and you got money in your cash last year, don't mean you can start.
I'm not, I have to pay.
So anyway, I appreciate you.
At least we
and
will
I
have to
hope-
see that on you.
You're doing a very good job, Nick,
I
and
mean,
I'm very.
nobody, I don't think, and I'll be honest, I don't think anybody else could have done it, because I've told a past commissioner friend of yours, today that, there's nobody else, I don't think, that could have done what you did in the short period of time you did it, so.
Appreciate it.
Can I take a second?
Hey,
Can I get up
Wait,
now?
wait,
Thanks.
can I say something? Go ahead. Thank you. Nick, I think you guys are doing an exceptional job, and I really appreciate everything you guys are doing.
Thank you.
It never was about that.
No, I know, I just,
can you run a chip seal?
Yeah, can we mount chip seal equipment on the back of an ambulance? I mean, you're going there anyway.
there'll be some roads with some pretty thick chip seal on it. We go to the same place a lot.
Alright. What's his probation with Scott Pool and?
They came and asked for a voided check to change over so they could take payments up there. I told them to send me more information, it didn't happen, I missed, that should just come off the agenda.
Okay, so they don't have,
I thought that there was like a credit card services agreement previously that they had talked about. I mean,
That's what it is, they wanna be able to take credit card payments up there,
So
and they
they
said
need
it
a
is a
machine?
service.
So do
I
they
don't
have a
know.
contract?
I don't know if it's a pre-existing contract, I really don't know anything about it, cause I've asked them to send me information and I can't get it, so.
Okay.
If it's anything like ours, like, cause I know we do credit card payments, a lot of that stuff switching over at the state level of how it's being processed, and we had to go through the same thing of updating the bank account for it to be deposited through, to be routed through. It goes through like 2 or 3 different hands now, so I'm not saying it is, but if that's what it is, it's probably what needs changed. We did
Well,
the
that's,
same thing.
yeah, all I ask is that if they just send me, we'll get it figured out, but.
alright, we'll skip that, since we don't know what it is. Alright, 911 director appointment. We had, 3 interviews last week. And I'll just say all 3 candidates, impressed, I think all 3 of us pretty much with, the way they handled themselves in the interview and some of the questions they asked and some of their comments back to the 3 commissioners about expectations and some other stuff, so, I will say that, you know, for me, you know, I was pretty pleased with the caliber of interviews we had. The interviews went extremely well, and you know, a lot of experience there with the three candidates. So, you know, it's very, very difficult decision, and I'll say, if I say anything about me being a commissioner for the 7 years that I've been a commissioner, hiring people in a small community is always tough, because you know everybody, you are friends with people, you know, people's feelings are gonna be hurt, and coming from a UPS where I've hired hundreds of people and fired twice as many, it's always difficult to hire somebody and exclude somebody else. I mean, so, you know, this decision tonight's gonna upset people, and if I had anything I could do as a commissioner, that would be something I would like not to be able to do, so.
Pay an outside company to do the hiring.
Well, and actually that, I'd hate to say that, that sometimes in a small community, if we were in a larger community where there's thousands of people, I mean, where everybody didn't know everybody, and that would probably be an easier solution than, knowing that, you know, you're gonna pass that person, you know, 10 times in a week, or hear them or talk to them or whatever. So it is, you know, me for one, it's a difficult, you know, decision. It's not taken lightly, and there's, you know, myself, my decision is gonna be based on, you know, what I think the department needs, and the future of the department, and the direction of the department. So I'll shut up and let these two guys talk, and we'll go from there.
Well, I'll just say that I think we're very fortunate in this position to have some really great candidates that come in. You know, typically, we don't have that, or you're not that fortunate in a lot of positions, so, that, I feel like, from a county standpoint, that was fantastic to have, the level of candidates that we were able to get to, the knowledge, and like I said, you're right, Mike, they shared a lot of different things with us, and I thought that was great. And so, we typically don't have that luxury of being able to have a lot of considerations, so.
Randy, you got any comments?
Yeah, I mean, with this, you know, Scott County is a poor county. There's not money floating around or falling from the sky. We don't have a money tree, on the premises anyway. And, so a lot of what went into our decision, or my decision, was, the ability and experience with writing grants, and applying for grants, and knowing how to search for those grants, because we rely on grants. I mean, we do.
We probably don't rely on one enough.
Yeah, but, I mean, we're in a situation where Scott County has to have them. It's just, you know, not to bring up Chisfield, you know, again, but, you know, we're getting grants to pave our roads. We'll continue to pave our roads as long as we have those grants, and because that is the surface of choice. God knows, I wish we could go through and I could give everybody concrete roads, but, either way, it's, getting a little bit off subject here, but, you know, it's experience. It just gets right down to experience.
Well, we'll say this, because we had a fourth candidate and he did reach out to me, and, he actually wanted to know if we would split the 911, the EMA positions. Years ago, and I'm gonna say the EMA position probably wasn't even a paid position at the time when, Bob Bridgewater did it. But it was a situation where we did have an EMA director and a 911. But it was a different age and different whatever, and then we did combine, actually the EMA director was also the EMS director at one, before it was combined with 911. And sometimes that worked, sometimes it didn't, but it wasn't a very cohesive type of structure that worked very well. So several years ago, they combined the EMA with a 911 director, kind of gave some more money to the 911 side so that, you know, it was a more attractive position. It's still not a highly paid position, but it still gives enough money to where the EMA side is probably more of a part-time. It's not, it'd be really tough if we had just an EMA director in the size of Scott County, because I don't know if there's enough work. You can keep yourself busy, but I mean, it's not that you're gonna be making stuff to keep busy, but it works out this way. And like I told him, he said, well, I'd like to see if you'd split it. And we would hurt the 911 side if we did that. So, that wasn't even a consideration. So that's why the fourth one didn't, stepped out of it. He won actually one side, not the other. So, you guys, I don't know where you're at with the decision or, I mean, I know, two of them's here and the husband of another one's here. So, you guys, what's your thoughts?
Well, before I say something, I wanna say, Will, I think you did an absolute amazing job while you've been there and covering for, you know, through this rough time and helping us stay afloat. I think you did very well on your, during your interview, thank you. And you know, I hope you continue to work for Scott County. But it just, your experience level, which you agreed you know, don't have enough experience yet about the grants, that was a weak point for you. So at this time, I just want to say thank you. Please stay. But my vote will be for Jeremy McDaniels to head it up, just because of his experience with grants.
All right, is that in a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, how we do this is, I guess we're going to put Jeremy up first, and if he gets 2 votes and it's over. If not, then we'll nominate we'll ask for another, you know, nomination for someone else. So Randy has made a motion to hire Jeremy McDaniels as the EMA 911 director. Greg, what's your thoughts?
Well, I'm gonna second that. You know, Will, you do outstanding job, and Brittany does outstanding job, and Randy's right. You know, when it really came down to it, you know, we started looking at, you know, grants, and we started opening our eyes to some other avenues there. But Jimmy, you know, I had confidence in you over there, and moving in a new direction, and but we, we certainly will, you do fantastic work over there, and we certainly appreciate you, and Britton as well, that I will second, Gary.
Okay, well, there's a motion, for Jeremy, made by Randy, seconded by Greg, and I'll make that unanimous, but I wanna say to Will, and Brittany, both of you are seasoned people over there. You, have pulled the weight of, a lot of stuff over there, and, I want to see that continue, and, again, I wanna thank Will personally and Brittany, I mean, they both, had to pick up a lot of slack here with some things in the last year, and I, sometimes that doesn't go, people don't feel like you're appreciated for that, but I wanna personally, and I know this board feels the same way, that, it didn't miss a beat, and I wanna thank you both, so. So with that, I guess, Jennifer, I don't know Will's here, but I mean, you could make sure everybody gets a letter of knowing what the answer of the board was, so. Alright. Moving on to the salary ordinance review and corrections. I don't know what that is. That must be you.
Causing trouble. Yeah.
I guess my question would be, why are we discussing the salary ordinance? We do not pass the salary ordinance, and we don't have any say over the salary ordinance.
And it's not going to affect the budget. So it's a reversal, so the budget actually has the money there, but the ordinance is incorrect to the budget.
Okay, I think that would be.
We have it on their agenda as well.
Yeah.
but-
Okay, you just want, okay.
Yeah.
I just don't think we can do.
Is this with the area plan?
That one did not make it on there, because I think that was just a misspoken thing. I don't think that one's wrong, incorrect.
Okay.
Yeah.
So is this,
So it sounds like we don't need to cover it here, we'll cut it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Absolutely wonderful. It is on the agenda for the 13th for the council, we've got everything ready for you guys, so
is that
it'll
it?
be an easy one.
I'd like to see what, we don't have to talk about it, I'd just like to see what it is.
I mean, you're perfect, I mean, I'm just, my 2 cents is, it's not our decision, so. But.
It's
So all these
You
are
can talk about
changed?
which one.
The ordinance is incorrect to what's in the budget, so what the state has approved is a higher amount than what we actually advertised in the ordinance. So we just have to amend the ordinance to reflect the budget.
Okay.
No effect to the budget.
So the budget was approved with the correct figures, the figures
Yes.
aren't right?
Yeah.
Okay, alright, I got you.
So it's not gonna be a hard
Good luck,
conversation.
you
We won't be digging for more money.
Alright,
Coming after ARPA? I'm not going
it's not really, it's not our decision, so.
No.
Alright,
Appointments. Court appointments.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I skipped over that, I guess I saw that other appointments. Consideration of the board appointments.
What?
Yeah, you better go. Anyway, consideration of the board appointments. I'm gonna say that I dropped the ball on my end here. I'm gonna ask, I guess you guys, have you, got a list of people that you want for some boards? We can do it with some, partial ones, or we can push it to the next meeting and just say, we will have them at that meeting.
I know we did like some annual appointments initially, which are we still talking about, if I remember, it was like visitors commission?
There's a BZA appointment that we need to have.
Here's extra, if you wanna look at,
Yeah, just so I can,
pass it down.
Yeah, we have a BZA appointment, we have, which we actually created ourselves, because we had a person there, and then we promoted her to another position, and then she can't fill that position now. We have a visitors commission that is if I'm not mistaken, a layman. It doesn't have to be somebody that's in the field or whatever. You can stay the whole day in last night and still be
The filling,
And the mayor, they know they owe us an appointment.
They owe-
So
the
they're
city-
still working on that as well.
Yeah, the
so.
city owes an appointment to the health board, which is, their call this time. And
yeah,
I
have
will-
they gotten our 3 names yet?
No,
Okay, so,
and so,
We're waiting for that from them, so. And I think there's some others, but some of them are just,
but they do
Pass.
know that they are considering the
they
first.
know that I know I personally have talked to the mayor and said, hey, you have an appointment, that you have an appointment here and you need to bring us 3 people.
Yeah.
We need to probably say that again, because I've seen where they've canceled a few meetings they've had where they didn't have anything on the agenda, but they need to come with at least 3 people to do that.
they reached out today, they know, they just haven't done it, so.
So let's make it concrete. I mean, some of these I think are probably just gonna, be reappropriate or reapproved. Some of these, are, like I said, do have openings, so. And I think, well, the Board of Health, that's one of them that does have some people coming up, but they are appointments from the city, so. So we all agree that at our next meeting, we're definitely gonna have appointments set up, ready.
Well, I
God
mean,
bless you all. You're in my prayers.
Thank
You
you.
really are. You're making some very difficult
Well,
decisions. And I really appreciate what you're doing.
Well, appreciate that comment.
Thank you.
Because some people doesn't realize, it gets personal sometimes when you're making, life-changing events for some people, and it's hard sometimes. I mean, so I appreciate that, and we all appreciate that, I'm sure.
And I really appreciate being able to be here.
Well, you can come
and listen.
anytime you want.
Thank you. We really appreciate that. We really do.
All right.
And you're in our prayers. You really are.
well, thank you, we need those.
It's a difficult situation.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think it was very mature for you to say that you dropped the ball.
Where's your list?
And out of respect, for somebody who might have voted for Eisenhower out there on a voting machine,
No, it wasn't. Matter of fact, I wasn't born. Actually, I was born.
I'm
in
gonna-
Eisenhower.
I'm gonna agree to, table this, until next meeting.
Okay.
Uh,
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, by consensus, we'll just do that, so.
I didn't bring the list because I didn't wanna make you look bad.
Yeah, I know it. But anyway,
Yes, she didn't put them in a folder this time.
I will say this, I mean, it's about the election, that machine out there.
There's a special invoice.
The first election I could vote was Ronald Reagan versus Jimmy Carter, and, it wasn't a very hard decision to, make, so. And matter of fact, if you've ever voted in that machine, when you go in there, you pull a curtain and you start clicking buttons. But there is one button that you can click and vote for the whole thing. Well, mine went click and the door opened and they go, wow, well, we know how you voted. So, but anyway.
I had family that voted exactly the same way, the curtain didn't stop.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna table that till our next meeting. Now back to considerations of regular claims and special claims. So do we have any?
There's your regular ones.
Yeah, Randy was trying to hide his,
Use black,
appointments.
always use blue. That way, it's my original,
State code says.
cause it can be copied if you blue ink, anyway.
I'm gonna ask you something after the meeting, so. Okay, just a 30 second.
I guess we better vote on this.
All right, everybody had an opportunity to see Mandy's, email with all the claims, and
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to accept the claims
I'll make that motion.
Randy makes the motion, Greg.
Second.
Greg seconds that, and I'll make that unanimous, so. Consideration of the payroll for January the
Wait,
twenty-sixth.
We have a special claim.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
That was the
Have a
regular, this is
special
the special one.
No,
We do have one special claim, so.
And this is the contract with Tyler Williams, the $833.
Is that what that one was? Okay, yes.
Nick, it's for EMS. and then Nick is-
special claims, been approved.
All right, special claims is for $1,666.66, and this is for the January paramedic program director for 2023, and this is for January and February. So it's 2 months for the LLC that runs the paramedic program at our EMS service, so. I'll entertain a motion to pay the special invoice,
I thought we just did that one.
not special invoice.
Okay, yeah,
Randy
I've
makes,
already seen it.
Randy makes a motion to pay the special invoice, Greg. I'll say. Greg seconds that, and the amount of that is $1,666.66, and you can't make that up. I'll make that unanimous. All right, I'll entertain a motion now for the consideration of payroll for January 26th, and it says 2023, but it's 2024.
I'll make a motion to let everybody get paid.
So anyway, Randy makes a motion to pay the payroll for January 26th, 2024. Randy, Greg?
I'll second.
Greg seconds that, I'll make it unanimous, so.
I don't want 200 people on my doorstep screaming.
Consideration of the minutes.
They did not get finished.
Okay, so we'll table the minutes till the next meeting, so. Got anything?
I'll make a motion to end the meeting.
You got anything?
I do, sorry, real quick. I wanted to thank, Jamie Toby with the Community Foundation for all her hard work. We had went down to Edwardsville yesterday and gave a presentation, and Jamie put together, a lot of great material for that presentation, for Ready 2.0, and a lot of the key stakeholders with the, IDC was there, and, with the Indiana, Economic, Development Commission was there. And so, they, listened to our period of time, was, collaborated with City of Salem and Floyd County and IUS, and that group went to different places throughout the day listening to other presentations for folks in southern Indiana who has projects that they're needing funding for. So I just want to thank Jamie. She does, a heck of a lot of work, and she put a lot of, like I say, good material to send those folks back to Indianapolis with something that they could look at and keep us in mind for. So just wanted to personally thank her for that.
All right,
Yes, sir.
so you don't have anything now? Jennifer, you have anything?
Not that I want on we've got some forms that came in about opioid money that I need to show Zach
Yeah, I saw
on
that.
that.
So I'll entertain a motion now to close the meeting.
I'll make a motion to end the pain.
Randy makes a motion to adjourn the meeting, Greg
I'll second.
seconds, and I'll make that unanimous, so.